All right, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, human beings and non human beings as well. My name is Fatur, and today we are talking about this topic called vectors. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you from scratch for this topic. All right, so in this topic, what we are going to learn is know the definition of what vectors is. Basically, vectors is anything that moves with a magnitude, right? With respect to direction. So if I were to tell you 10 meters, this is just magnitude. Okay, but when I say 10 meters to the left. This is what they call as vectors. Okay. So when it comes to math, this we are talking about e-math here, yeah. So when we are talking about math, right? We don't really have to learn that first by definition. That is only for physics. Okay. So what you need to know that for vectors, you have two types of vectors. All right. One they call it column vectors. All right. Then the next one is called, oops, the next one is what you call a figure vectors. Okay, so column vectors have figure vectors. Column vectors is just like graphs. Okay, like remember coordinate geometry, that topic. Column vectors are basically very much related to that topic. Okay, but when it comes to figure vectors, this is where they will give you a particular shape and then they'll ask you different questions pertaining to that shape. Okay, so now let's talk about column vector first. Okay, so when it comes to column vectors, so we are talking about, let's say A, we have column vector of 3 and 6. What does that mean, 3 and 6? It means A, from the original point, which is 0 and 0. You're talking about graph, right? 0, 0. It means 3 steps to the left, 6 is 3 steps to the right, 6 steps on top. So it's like that. 3 and 6. Technically, it is just like the coordinates of 3 comma 6. X-axis is on top, y-axis at the bottom. Okay, you just have to know this. Okay, so when it comes to A, this direction here is what you call as A. Why is it A? Because it's called OA. It means the direction to get from O to the point of A. All right, so this is what you call 3, 6. If they tell you B is negative 1 and 2, where will B be? Where will B be? Whoa. Okay, anyway, negative 1 and 2. I got distracted. I'm so sorry. So this is negative 1 over here and then 1 and 2. So over here, right? So I can put as B. So B will be negative 1 and 2. Okay? So now, since you get that already, right? Okay, now, how about I join them together? So how do I go from A to B? So you see this A to B? Okay, but now I have this OB, right? Okay, I will see first. Okay, so you have OB first, right? So OB is negative 1 and 2, OA is 3 and 6, right? But if they were to ask you what is the vector of AB, okay, this vector of AB. So how do you get this done then? If I were to zoom in for you all to see, right, how to get from A to B? To get from A to B, we are actually looking at the direction, right? From A to B, I am looking at the direction from A to O and then O to B. Okay? So in this case, from the vector of AB, the vector means how do I get from A to B? What are the directions do I need to go through in order for me to get from A to B? So A to O followed by O to B. Right? These are the directions, right? Because if I want to go straight from AB, I cannot find the direction. So I gotta find other alternatives, right? So which means from A to O and then followed by O to B. Okay, but the key point is this. Just remember, it is always the second letter minus the first letter. Straightforward as it is. This for column vectors. Okay? Just straightforward. OB minus OA. Second letter minus first letter. If they ask you to find CD, you're talking about OD minus OC. See, always second letter minus first letter. Yeah? Alright, so in this case, OB is negative 1 and 2 minus OA, 3 and 6. When it comes to adding or subtracting vectors, it is very straightforward. Just take top minus top, bottom minus bottom. See, simple, right? The same thing goes for plus as well. Top plus top, bottom plus bottom. X-axis plus x-axis, y-axis plus y-axis. Very simple. I'm pretty sure it is, right? So in this case, negative 1 minus 3, negative 4, 2 minus 6, negative 4. Ta-da! Okay. So how do I check whether my answers are correct? So I got negative 4 and negative 4, right? So this means from A to B, I got to move 4 steps to the left because negative means you move to the left for x-axis, right? Right. X-axis positive means you move to the right. Okay. But for y-axis, positive means you go up, negative means you go down. So in this column vector of AB, I'm moving 4 steps to the left, 4 steps downwards, right? So now let's try this. Look at this part. Look at A to B. From A to B, I move 4 steps to the left, right? How do I know? From negative 3 to from positive 3 to negative 1. How many steps do I move? 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1. See? 4 steps. 4 steps to the left, right? How about the y-axis? From 6 down to 2. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So 4 steps down, right? That's how I check whether my answers are correct or not. Simple, right? That's all. That's all you need to do for vectors. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? 4 column vectors. I'm not talking about other vectors yet, right? Okay, so next part is they will ask you to find the length. Length of AB. So when it comes to length of AB, right, they can always use this unit. See these two walls here? This Great Wall of China here, right? So this Great Wall over here, right? So the moment you see the wall standing side by side, it means you're talking about length, okay? Remember quadrant geometry, you're talking about y2 minus y1 square plus x2 minus x1 square, correct? Then you hold it in square root. The same thing goes for this, the same thing, okay? So you get x square plus y square because they already combine the x gradient followed by the y gradient, so called the x differences lah. Okay, so now you have x squared plus y squared, then you'll get your answer. There you go. Simple. So they have negative 4 bracket square plus negative 4 bracket square, then you'll get square root of 32. Then you calculate your answer through your calculator. Is it very simple? I'm pretty sure it is. Ha ha he he. Okay, so the next part we are going to talk about is figure vectors. So when it comes to figure vectors, let me give you an example. For figure vectors, they will give you a figure, obviously, right? So now, when it give you a particular figure, this particular triangle, I have A, B, and C, all right? So for figure vectors, you will need to use your algebraic expression skills, your manipulation skills. Remember back in Sec 1, Sec 2, Sec 3, you will learn all about algebra, right? So you got to apply all this, okay? So if they give you the vectors of AB to be given as A, you see how I write the squiggly lines? You have to write. If not, they will minus your mark. Why? I don't know. I'm just a pirate. How would I know? I live on a boat. Okay, so AB is A, followed by BC is B. Alright? So to get your answer, to find the vector of AC, remember previously I said, how do you get from A to C? What are the directions that you need to take to get from A to C? Basically, A to B followed by B to C, right? When they say AC, it means your starting point must be at A, your ending point must be at C. Simple. So the moment you connect these 2 points together, you add them, you plus them. So you get A plus B. Ta-da! There you go. Okay? However, anything that goes opposite direction, you just add a negative sign to it. So if let's say they ask you to find the vector of CA, you just put a negative A minus B. That's all. Because all of this, the sign will change. Simple as that. I'm pretty sure it is, right? Ha ha ha. Arr, 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 arr. Okay, so when it comes to further examples, let's talk about an example like this. Because sometimes instead of the question just asking you straightforward questions like A to B, A to C, or C to D, or D to F, or whatever nonsense, right? They will give you more challenging questions because life is full of challenges. So they will give you ratio. ratio of the units. But this is also as simple as ABC because vectors, it's all about vectors, right? So it's ABC. When they give you AC is to CB equals to 2 is to 1. What does that mean? It means the length of AC, the vector of AC is 2 units, the vector of CB will be 1 unit, right? So they tell you AC is to CB. AC, which is 2 units here, BC will be 1 unit. All right? Okay, so now let's talk about AB. How do I find AB? How do I get from A to B? A to B. How do I get from A to B again? Basically, from A to O, followed by O to B. You see? Right? So that is the vector now, right? So it means I get from A to O, followed by O to B. Okay? So in this case, AO, you see that OA is the direction of A, this way, right? But AO is the opposite way. Opposite way means what must you do? You must add a negative to it. So it becomes a negative A. And then now plus OB. OB, this direction of B. It goes along the direction. You just plus B. There you go. That is AB, right? Okay, now how do I find AC then? AC is this basically this way, right? The same way, right? What just happened? Hey, hey, that's not fair. Okay, so this AC, right? So you know that AB, I don't know how you got displaced. Wow, it's so cool. Okay, whatever. Anyway, is AB. AB is negative A plus B, right? Negative A plus B. So AB is equal to negative A plus B, right? But if you look at AC is 2 units, but BC is 1 unit. So if you are talking about B's AB, if you are talking about AB, how many units are we talking about? 3 units, right? So you know that 3 units equals to negative A plus B because 3 units is AB one, right? So all you gotta do is just find 1 unit, which means I'll just have negative A plus B over 3, right? But then AC is 2 units. So you get 2 over 3 bracket negative A plus B, right? Because it's 2/3, 2/3 of the whole vector. The whole vector is negative A plus B. So since AC is 2 units out of the 3 units in total, right? So that's why you write out 2 over 3 negative A plus B. All right? So this is AC. But if they're asking you to find BC, how do I get BC? BC is this direction, right? This direction, opposite direction, because AB is this way, moving towards the left. BC is now moving towards the right, right? But remember, BC is 1 unit, which is basically 1/3 bracket negative A plus B. But the problem is BC is on the opposite direction. So what do I add? I add a negative sign. That's all. You see, vectors is basically like this whole entire thing. Very simple, very easy, right? So now let's try. This is just a question that I randomly come up with because I'm always bored, right? So now let's look at the main question. They ask you to find OC in terms of A and B. How do I get from O to C? Is there a line? There is no line to get from O to C. What do I do? Add the line. Simple. See, just add the line. Right? Just add the line. If there is no line, add the line. See, create a system. Okay. So OC. So to get from O to C, it means I get from which to which part first? O to A, followed by A to C. Right? OC. It means first destination, starting point is O, ending point is C. Right? So OC, you get from O to A, followed by A to C. All right, in this way. So now you know that OA equals to A. See, same direction of A as well. So I just put it that way, right? And then plus AC. Didn't we find AC already? Oh yeah, we did find AC already. Ha ha ha. Which is this part, right? AC is 2 units, right? So plus 2/3 bracket negative A plus B. There you go. So now the thing about this expression is that you need to simplify them, right? Obviously, because it's algebra. E-math algebra has to be simplified. If not, what do you expect to get? 0, right? So negative A minus 2/3 A plus 2/3 B. Open up the bracket. Okay. If you don't know, don't worry. In my other videos, there's algebraic expression and manipulation video. You can just watch that. All right. If you watch and still don't know, go and ask your teacher. If you still don't know, ask your tutor. If you still don't know, then you go and pray. Okay. Maybe God will help you. Okay. So now A minus 2/3 A, you get 1/3 A. All right. Because A is just one whole. One whole minus 2/3, you get 1/3, right? Why am I even explaining this? Okay, never mind, it's okay. For the benefit of a doubt, because I'm a pirate. Ha ha ha. Okay, plus 2/3 B. There you go. Do not forget to write the wriggly lines, because if not, they will just minus marks from you, right? What's the reason? I don't know. Like I said, I'm a pirate. Ha ha ha. I live on a boat. So that's your answer. See, simple. That is the whole thing for vectors. So now, if they ask you to find CD as simply as possible, where is C to D? From C to D. Oh my gosh. Look at all the drawings I've made. C to D. Okay, now C to D. This way, right? So from C to D, where do I get from? C to O followed by O to D. Right? So C to O followed by O to D. So in this case, OC, you know that is this way, right? If they say CO, CD equals to CD, right? CO plus OD, right? Because from C to O and then followed by O to D. Okay? So remember OC is 1/3 A plus 2/3 B. So if they are asking for CO, what do? You add a negative sign. So negative 1/3 A minus 2/3 B. Alright? But when it comes to OD, remember, look at the letters here. OB is B. So OB equals to B, right? Look at the ratio once again. OB is to BD is 3 is to 2. So this is 3 units, this is 2 units, right? So which means, how do I find BD? BD is 2/3 of OB, right? Right. Because OB is 3 units, but BD is 2 units. So to find BD is basically 2/3 of OB, because BD is 2 units out of the 3 units of OB, right? So this will be 2/3 of B. If you add them up together, 2/3 B plus B, you will get, so OD, you get B plus 2 over 3B. Then you get 5 over 3B, right? Because B is one whole. One whole is 3 over 3. So 3 over 3 plus 2 over 3, you will get 5 over 3, right? So in this case, you know OB is plus 5 over 3B. Then you add them up together. Negative 2 plus 5, positive 3. Positive 3 over 3 is just 1B. So negative 1/3 A plus B. Ta-da, ta-da. Yay, that's all. That's for CD. Right? Now, the rest of the questions are same thing as well. You just have to apply the things that I've taught you in this video. You try it yourself. All the best. Stay safe. Now, don't be a pirate, okay? Good job. Bye-bye.